Hi guys, welcome to the channel and to a new video, this time on the launch of the brand new Mercedes-Benz SL.
We've been hearing rumors about German engineers working on a completely new race car, a car inspired by the structures of airplanes.
The secret of this new two-seater is its super-light construction.
They call it the SL.
Fierce competition is expected. The three Mercedes entered for the race are odds-on favorites.
Mercedes are ahead of anyone else. A certain German victory is the rare stroke of genius. The dramatic debut for one of the great cars of history.
And now the very successful light race car has become a car sought after by celebrities, a star among stars.
The legend of Mercedes continues with the new SL.
Hohe technische Reife als Ergebnis jahrelanger Entwicklungsarbeit.
This is the stuff dreams are made of. For almost 70 years, the SL has been an object of desire for the world over. A true icon. Are you ready for a new star? The star is reborn.
Well, there it is, the new SL, and yeah. The point is that, yeah, it's a sports car. Yeah, it's not as busy and weird in its servicing as Mercedes, let's say, was in their sort of 5 most recent years. But oh my word. That's about it. I mean, this brand has a truly fantastic heritage. They invented a car, they have, well, they've shown a few moments of their history, specifically their SL history. Truly magnificent work. Especially, I believe, the R129, the SL from the 80s. Truly magnificent piece of Bruno Sacco car design for Mercedes-Benz, and truly the embodiment of what the brand stood for and what it still stands for, which is German quality. And that, looking at what we're seeing here, is completely missing. This is a blob. Full stop. Yes, not a blob with weird shapes in the side profile, like the recent blobs of Mercedes-Benz, let's say, of the past 5 years. But definitely still a complete blob. That Tectonic R129 had this nice slanted nose, it had a nice horizontal character, very pure in its surfacing, fantastic short overhang in front, then the front wheel from which the whole car seemed to be designed, and then very taut, very clean, crisp Bauhaus surfaces. And this is completely missing in this first view of the new 2021 or 2022 Mercedes-Benz SL.
The star is reborn. This is the new Mercedes.
Well, we'll decide on that, but look at that droopy almost rear end. So the rear 3/4 of the car. I've seen some people saying, well, it looks a bit 911-ish, and it does, but not in the good way. There is no reason for Mercedes-Benz to keep on dragging these soft, blobby surfaces out. They have this tendency to keep on doing that. And for all the, I think, 3, 4, 5 videos that I've done on Mercedes-Benz recent introductions, it's always the same. At least now, the introduction video is not horrendous anymore and a big cringe fest. But apart from that, it's just terrible. Why this droopy rear end that is only typical for British cars, let's say old Jags, Rolls-Royce, Bentleys, Daimlers, but not for Mercedes-Benz. And sure, some people will say, well, but what about the first SL, the gullwing that you've seen in the introduction video here as well? But their car was made then, and then, which is sort of 50s and 60s, they only had soft surfacing. There was nothing else that people could do. It just couldn't get out of the mold, right? Metal or aluminium just wasn't, it couldn't be forced into the shapes that car designers wanted, basically. Only soft, rounded shapes were possible. And the SL gullwing has already been, let's say, revamped in the SLS, of course, which actually was a Tectonic, clean, crisp piece of design and a modern interpretation of what the SL was and could be for, let's say, the modern era. However, looking at especially the side profile of this car, so look at the door. Look at it closely. This could be absolutely anything. There's no character in there. There's a large frontal overhang, which is unpleasant and it's unneeded for such a big sports car. I mean, look at Bentley doing this tiny frontal overhang on their GTC, let's say, or Continental GT convertible. Completely and utterly different proportions and way more pleasant. And this is just, there's a large overhang in the back, there's a large overhang in the front, and in between is just a whole lot of nothing.
This AMG SL, the luxury sports car of a new generation.
But does it look, let's be honest, does it look like a luxury sports car? Or is it just this sort of extrusion profile of blobness? So from the front wheel up until the rear is just this, and it hangs on its rear a bit. And again, looking at that front end, which is completely generic apart from the current Mercedes-Benz lineup. But look at the A-Class, it has very similar pinchy, angry headlights. But there's almost no differentiation between an A-Class and an SL. There's, again, no good reason to do it like that. A good brand DNA should cater to the different typologies within the portfolio of the brand. And Mercedes-Benz is just copy-pasting and stretching it a bit or making it a bit higher for the SUVs. But they all have these massive intakes on the side. They all have these unpleasant, rough applications of chrome elements on the nose, especially the Maybach models, but also this car. And then looking at the rear end of the car, indeed very 911-ish. And again, that's not at all a good thing to be said about the top-end Mercedes-Benz.
A model series that keeps making history.
The SL is an icon of our brand. This Roadster stood for automated fascination and desire for decades. And you will find this special fascination of the SL in every little detail of our newly designed.
All right, there we go. This fascination with fascination and the word fascination and tacky details. This could be the cheap air vent of a whatchamacallit generic little city blob, but this doesn't, even if it's real metal, which I don't think it will be, but even if it's real metal, it doesn't have the perceived quality of a high-end a bit of jewelry. It doesn't come close to anything like that. And yeah, they're all talking about their airplane history, but if we really want to talk about the Mercedes-Benz airplane history, I don't think you want to use that as your marketing tool, Mercedes-Benz. So they grab things without any relevance to the brand. And you know, if you imagine Mercedes-Benz was a new brand, right? And they're looking for interesting pieces of materials and ideas and shapes and foams and colors and whatever, then I can understand you're looking at other cool objects, so to speak. But a Mercedes-Benz shouldn't be hip and cool. It's a Tectonic brand, with the richest history, the most heritage of literally any automotive manufacturer out there. They are the first car manufacturer. So you have this massive pool of shape, of form, of information that you can translate into the future. And what do? You get this tacky piece of I'm looking for a half-decent word that I can use on YouTube, but I guess you might get my vibes on this. I am not a fan.
I'm Roadster.
This car was designed for maximum luxury, but also delivers maximum performance. Its rigid, lightweight aluminum space frame has been completely designed from scratch. The new SL will be launched in...
So again, that front end, it's so generic, and apart from a massive grille, there is nothing Tectonic in it, and a massive grille actually isn't very Tectonic. The SL R129, which is, like I said, regarded as one of the best pieces of car design almost in general, and specifically one of the best Mercedes-Benz designs. It had this beautiful chiseled and you know, it appeared like honed from one piece kind of look. It exuded this lovely Tectonicness and rigidness and Germanic build quality. Everything in its design, exterior and interior, said that this was the best SL, the best large convertible in the world. And this doesn't.
Performance.
So let's have a look at this side vent, for instance. I mean, it's not even real, of course, because Mercedes-Benz is faking all its intakes, as you can see in some of my previous videos on the EQS, for instance. But come on, guys, this is such a literally tacked on kind of blobby blob that is hanging on the side, and it's as tacky as you can find it. You know, it is. You buy it at half foot. That's the kind of quality we're looking at here. Unbelievable.
Variants. 2 V8 bi-turbo engines with 476 or 585 horsepower will be available. And of course, we'll take it another step further. Later on, the SL will also be available with our Formula One inspired hybrid technology, e-Performance.
So, have a look at that rear end when it comes by in this video. It's obviously a video that's shot fast, so it's hard to pause it, but you get a good feel and even a better feel of the proportions of the car, the sculpture of the car, when the camera is flying around it. So try to have a look at that rear end and see how generic it is, and how, again, it is always the same. It's there seems to be no creativity on one hand. So they developed this form language in the rear end as well. It's the horizontal tail lights. You'll see them in every single Mercedes-Benz model, and then the quad exhaust, and then the side-ish vents in the bumper that will probably lead nowhere. It's all the same, and it shows in a way that this is styling. This is not design. They're just tacking on the same aesthetics to whether it's an A-class or a B or a C or an E or a GLE or whatever it is. It's always the same, and it's not a good brand DNA, so to speak, because that would open up different avenues for a smaller hatch or a large SUV, and give within the spectrum of shapes and forms character to each of these individual cars, rather than just making, you know, a lineup of cars that are just scaled upwards for SUVs or maybe made a bit wider for a sports car.
It will feature electric power unit at the rear axle. For optimal traction, the SL comes with fully variable 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive. By the way, this is a first for the SL. And also for the first time, the SL offers rear axle steering. It turns the rear wheels up to 2.5 degrees for higher agility. This feature also increases stability at speeds above 60 miles per hour. What's more, the new space concept allows for even more storage in the back and in the trunk. The updated layout of the new SL allows for a 2+2 seating arrangement.
This is the most digital sports car we've ever made. The combination of high-tech and a bold analog appearance give it a tension in its design, which we call hyper-analog. You can properly feel the car and still enjoy the digital experience. And the angle of the center screen can be adjusted to reduce glare.
Yeah. Now look at a brand like Rolls-Royce. They have quite literally the opposite idea of integrating tech in their cars, because they know if you design a car for longevity, that the first thing that will make a car look old or dated is tech and screens and this kind of stuff. Also, they know that physical switchgear is by far the best for any car, let alone a driver's car like the SL, where you want to keep your eyes on the road rather than on your sticky, greasy touchscreen. So, it's bad design. It's a worse interpretation of SL than the previous one, which was already horrendously ugly. But this is just, it's the opposite of what Mercedes-Benz used to stand for. They had their entire design studio informed by research, by optometrists, by ergonomics, by all sorts of research, and I'm sure they will still be walking around there, but they're apparently being told to shut up because this looks cool in a marketing video, but that's about it.
The design of our new SL embodies the perfect symbiosis between emotional, sensuous contours, digital and analog luxury to create the extraordinary look of the vehicle. Interior details are inspired
by airplane cockpits again. Well, this again, it doesn't look anything else than just gimmicky, and by the looks of it on screen at least, the cap where the logo, your most important brand identifier, rests on looks of rather cheap plastics as well. But apart from that, I can imagine people think it looks maybe, interesting because there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's not just about creating an interesting looking car, or not even about creating a beautiful car. It's about creating a real Mercedes-Benz that goes for an A-Class up towards an SL or an S-Class or whatever it is. It has to suit the message of Mercedes-Benz, building the best cars technically, likely still, of the world. And this doesn't convey that message.
by those of airplane cockpits, with the air vent resembling jet turbines. High-end materials abound, and all elements are seamlessly integrated.
With our AMG Active Ride Control, the SL gives you amazing command of the road in any situation. This new suspension system reduces body roll thanks to constant adaptive adjustment. It also lets you better experience the different driving modes, from very comfortable to extremely sporty. And also, we are proud to give the SL a soft top once again. It can be opened and closed at up to 37 miles per hour, and does so in just a few seconds.
true legend for the future.
This is a true SL, with the performance of an AMG and the comfort of a Mercedes.
Mercedes-AMG has completely reinvented it, but it remains the symbol of an exclusive lifestyle and a distinct brand shaper. Now, let's start celebrating.
So, again, a review that is not overly positive. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and let me know if you want me to review another new car. Leave them in the comments. Some really cool stuff is coming up, but thanks for tuning in nevertheless, whether you like the car or not, and I'll see you for the next video. Cheers!